Welcome back to MLG here in Columbus, Ohio. Tastes and Artosis. We just casted Pult, losing to Sheth. I was really surprised.
Amazing, amazing with that. And now we're going into Inori against Heart. And, I mean, this is going to be a good match. Two Korean players, two GSL guys.
Yeah.
And how will that go? I don't know.
We're going to find
TVP
out
action.
soon because the countdown has started.
Let's do
it
it.
is going to be a great TVP matchup. Both these players, I think, a little bit less well-known, but still very solid.
Oh,
and,
definitely, yeah.
You know, I don't like throwing
They've
around
actually-
the term
yeah.
dark horse too much, but you know, I think both these guys being very solid Koreans that play with
Dude,
the best of the best.
that's right. In fact,
there's certainly potential.
If you have too many dark
to win.
horses, then the lighter horses are now the dark horses.
That's
and that
true.
doesn't even
That's
make
a great
sense,
point.
Tasteless.
All right, introducing the players. In the bottom right, we have our Terran player. He is known as Heart. In the upper left, in the red, the Protoss player, TSL Inori.
Now, you know, a funny little storyline of this open bracket of this event, there are a ton of Koreans in the open bracket, something like 12 or 13, and almost every single one was on TSL or is on TSL. For instance, Heart, he was on TSL, and now he's on call. Inori, he was on FXO, I believe it was, and then he got picked up by TSL recently. These two actually weren't teammates. It was Heart left before Inori joined. Inori's a very recent member, but he's been sent out here to compete. And if you guys like TSL or Inori or any of their members or anything like that, the handsomenerd.com does in fact sponsor them, and you can definitely check that out. Proceeds help that team
you
out.
basically buy a hoodie or a t-shirt.
That's how they get to come here, man. Part of it,
that literally is how they get to come here.
Well, part of it.
That money funds them and supports their team. You know, whether it's trips or food or new equipment, whatever.
All right, so TVP. It is on this wonderful map in Tomb Valley. I actually really like Tomb Valley. Well, you know, some people will be like, well, it's because you have Protoss, but it's actually, I think it's a fun map, man. I love how it's an easy third for every race. If you're playing StarCraft on this map, you can get that third base quite easily. The fourth, that's another story. It's a little bit harder, not as hard as Antigua, but...
Oh, no, Antigua's weird. I mean, the longer the game goes on Antigua, the more dramatic it suddenly becomes. The more desperate the players become as well.
Yeah. Now, Heart is, in fact, getting a gas. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did a lot of early aggression. Like, if this is a Reaper expand, I'll be very surprised. But it could be any other number of builds, because Heart is not really known for trying to take the game really late. He's not necessarily...
What is your take on the non-wall in here? He could have prevented the probe, but he put the barracks over there. I mean, is there something I'm missing here? I don't see any benefits.
Well, it's actually really hard to say exactly why he chose to do it this way. We'll have to see with his tech route what that is up to. But yeah, now Inori has scouted that there is one gas. He didn't get to see that second gas, of course. And so it's impossible to know exactly what to do against this, because it could be a 1-1-1, could be a Reaper expand, could be a reactor expand, could be anything. So Inori has to be careful. In fact, he's getting his second gas. So unless he's playing a build like Huck used to or Sase currently does, probably not going to be a quick Nexus.
You know, one basing, a lot of players complain, you know, you always should be trying to get a fast expand up. One basing is integral if you're going to be a tournament champion.
That's true. You should
you
know how
have
to
a lot of one base builds. I'm sorry.
No, you're quite right, Cases. You should know how to execute it. And in fact, look at this. Going up to 3 gates, I definitely don't think it's going to be a 4-gate. Looks like a 3-gate pressure, maybe into expansion here. Normally you don't go 3-gate into any tech. That wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So expect to see that here. In the meantime, Heart, that's the reason, Tasteless, because he wanted to throw up a bunker at his choke. And when you see a bunker like that, you know that he's taking up to Banshee, because there's just no other reason.
Okay, here's a question then. These guys are all smart. They can read each other. When you see, I mean, all he has to do is peek with a stalker, for instance, to see a bunker. He'll know Banshees are coming.
Yes.
Is it more worth it to take the risk and risk losing to an all-in, but at least have that information masked?
I love the question you just asked. And I think a lot of the times, yeah, what you said is right. But what if you play like this, like he's doing, and then sometimes behind that you've made a command center? Then they're sitting there, scratching their head, they're confused. They don't know what's going on. They're preparing for something that's never coming, and you get way far ahead.
Let me interject for a second. Okay, now he's going to see the bunker. Let me just get confirmation of that. Hold on a second.
You didn't click anything.
Hold on, where's the V key? Okay. So he sees the bunker. I think if they're going to do the strategy, at least put the Marines on the low ground.
That's a good point, man. A fair statement. Now,
we'll see how you respond.
Inori did go for those 3 gates before the Nexus, but never did do any pressure. If he had gone for 3-gate pressure and that was on the low ground, then Heart would have been in trouble. So this is actually, it's really funny the way this game is working out. And it's kind of what they're both doing is working against each other. Now, Cloak is halfway done for those Banshees. 2 more racks on the way. So Heart is going for an all-in here. He's going for the 1-1-1. He's going to be attacking. Once he gets a Raven out, does some harassment, gets some Siege Shanks in, a lot of Marines. But Inori is getting out an Observer right now. So when he scouts it, he is going to have a chance to decide, okay, how do I stop this from here?
Do you think it's good to get the Cloak with the 1-1-1 build?
I like it, actually.
You like it?
I do. Because
it just seems like it's so much more gas. Oh, actually, no, you go ahead and respond to that, and then I got something I want to say about the 1-1-1,
all right.
please.
Well, for instance, Tasteless, right now we have the Robotics Bay going up, and that means that he wants to get a Colossus out. Now, Colossus is integral to killing this build off. There's other ways to do it, but this is one of the best ways to actually kill 1-1-1. The Colossus targets Marines, and then everything else falls apart because it does so much damage. But anyways, that by having cloaked Banshees out, which in fact are trying to do some harassment now, you force more Observers. That's less gas that they're going to have. That's their Stalkers spread out.
You are so smart, Artesius.
That's less robotics build time. There are so many good reasons to actually get Cloak with this build.
Of course, because, you know, the Observers or the Colossi can only come out one by one. So, yeah, forcing an additional Observer means this push may be that much more deadly.
And
now, we've seen Auto Turret used a lot more with this push.
Yeah, it's become a little bit more popular.
Yeah.
Point defense drone a lot of times will be more effectual if there's a lot of stalkers. I love the word effectual, Taste. You always laugh at me because it's not an actual word, but should I say effective?
Yes.
No, I like effectual.
Effectual.
I think it's actually.
You could say it's more affective.
Yeah, I guess I could.
I guess you could say that, Artosis.
All right.
Now, looks like the push is starting. Do we have SCVs with this? That's the big question. Will he pull the workers?
He has to bring at least some. He absolutely has to. You want to be able to repair your Banshees, your Siege Shanks if you make an auto turret, your Raven even. You want to be able to build bunkers. You need to bring at least a few SCVs. You don't have to go crazy on your SCVs, though. But he does have out already a Colossus. A second one has just started up. So this is going to come down a lot to micro and positioning.
All right, it's time. Have the SCVs been pulled? Indeed they have. This game will not go on for much longer, and this is going to be the moment where we're going to have to see, did this battle, will the Terran win or will the Protoss win?
And let's take a look here. He's got his siege mode, so he's going to start leapfrogging his tanks forward. Oh, you got to be careful there, as Inori. In fact, he has both of his observers on the hotkey of his army. He has to be very careful with that, because if he moves observers in and the Raven lets the Marines shoot it down, then the Banshees can kill almost everything.
What he's trying to do is force the tanks into siege mode. In siege mode, they can't move. When he forces siege mode, he then runs back. And as you can see, he's doing it yet again.
And here we go. Taking a lot of damage. You have to be careful. Those tanks do a lot of splash damage here. And the 2 observers still in there. He's got to be so careful with them. Trying to get out a few more units. An Immortal on the way. He already has 2 Colossus. It's a good set of units for Inori, and he's going. He's going for it. Takes 3 cloaked Banshees, though, targeting down so many important units. And in fact, the observers all go down. So these Banshees are going to be worth everything. Even though it looks like a lot of ground units are going to be cleaned up, there are no observers on this map, and it looks like Heart is going to be able to take this game.
Really, really, really well done there by our Terran players. GG. Inori was steamrolled there.
Yeah. You know, I actually have a lot of things to say about why that went down
while
like
you talk,
that.
I'm going to load up the replay there.
Okay.
And we're going to check that out, because I want to go back to that,
sure.
action sequence.
You go right ahead.
Go ahead.
But, you know, Inori, his whole build was a bit wonky. He made 3 gates, and then he didn't pressure with it. Normally, if you make 3 gates, you are absolutely going to put on some sort of pressure. Instead, he just made a Nexus. So now his Nexus is a little bit slower against an attack that's not coming yet. So the 3 gates were neither defensive nor were they offensive. And then, of course, the Cloaked Banshees came out. That was actually very smart. If you go for the fast expansion, normally you don't use Colossus as your 1/1/1 counter. Normally you just use a lot of units.
We're going to take a quick little break while I get to the point in time in the replay where it's most important. But when we get back, I want to go over that battle because that was very interesting, very intricate. And we're going to see exactly what the Terran did right and what the Protoss did wrong. So stay tuned.